13 powerful lessons from the book, Guys Are Waffles, Girls Are Spaghetti. Number 1. Guys and girls are very different, plain and simple. Sure, we have a lot in common. We both like oxygen, food, clothing, girls apparently more than guys, and pictures of baby polar bears. After these similarities, however, you will also find that we are often worlds apart. If you want to have relationships that add to the quality of your life, rather than make you exhausted, sad, frustrated, or hurt, try to understand the opposite sex a little more. Might I suggest thinking about it this way: guys are waffles and girls are spaghetti. Number 2. Imagine the shape of a waffle. If you look closely at the waffle, you will notice it is basically a collection of boxes that are separated by walls. The boxes make convenient holding places. This way you can fill up some of the boxes with syrup and watch them ooze over into the other compartments. Or maybe I just love doing that. Either way, this might help illustrate how guys generally process life. Our thinking is divided up into boxes, and each of those boxes has room for one issue and one issue only. Family might go into one box, while girlfriend goes into another, while schoolwork is in yet another, and so on. The typical guy tends to live in one box at a time. When he is playing video games, he is simply playing video games. When he is playing sports or burning ants with a magnifying glass, he is playing sports or intensely focused on killing tiny insects in a terrible and fascinating way. Guys concentrate on one thing at a time. This is why he sometimes looks like he is in a trance and can seemingly ignore everything else going on around him. Psychologists call this compartmentalizing. That is, putting life and responsibilities into different compartments. As a result of this compartmentalizing, guys are problem solvers by nature. They enter a box, size up the situation or the problem, and formulate a way to act on it or solve it. In the sports we guys choose to play, we consider what it will take to be successful, decide how good we might be able to be, and then focus on accomplishing some goals. Number 3. In stark contrast to guys' waffle-like approach, girls tend to deal with life as though it were a plate of pasta. If you look at a plate of spaghetti, you will notice that there are a lot of individual noodles, and all of the noodles touch one another. If you attempted to follow just one noodle around the plate, you would intersect a lot of other noodles, and you might even switch to another noodle seamlessly without realizing it. This is how girls face life. Every thought, feeling, and issue is connected to every other thought, feeling, and issue in some way. This is why girls typically are better at multitasking than guys. A girl can talk on the phone, paint her toenails, shop online, dabble with her algebra homework, and picture what her wedding will look like while simultaneously texting and eating. Because all her thoughts, emotions, and convictions are connected, she processes more information and keeps track of more activities taking place. As a result of this, most girls pursue a life that is connected. Even as I write, I am witnessing this. I'm in a little coffee shop, and sitting next to me are 3 girls who are very loud. They are moving from one topic to another so quickly that I am about to get a nosebleed from trying to follow them. I'm not meaning to eavesdrop. They are just loud. I can't understand the point of anything they are saying because they are all talking at the same time. How they understand each other, I have no idea. But magically, using girl power, they do. Number 4. Why it's great to be a guy. A trip anywhere for any amount of time requires only one bag. We can kill our own food without any feelings of guilt for the bunny. A guy can dismiss almost any problem, annoyance, or confusing situation with the phrase, "whatever," followed by walking away, a negative quality according to females everywhere. We get extra credit for even the slightest act of thoughtfulness. We can pee standing up anywhere on earth. Car mechanics tell us the truth. We can sit quietly or play a game with a friend for hours without ever thinking, "He must be mad at me." If someone forgets to tell us something important, he can still be our friend. If someone else shows up at a party in the same exact outfit we're wearing, we just found our new BFF. None of our buds ever traps us with statements like, "So, notice anything different?" Number 5. Why it's great to be a girl. You can cry without pretending there's something under your contact. Speeding ticket? What's that? You actually get extra points for watching sports. If you're a lousy athlete, you don't necessarily question your worth as a human being. You don't feel the need to deny going to the tanning bed. You possibly could live your whole life without having to endure a group shower. You'll never have to decide where to hide your nose hair clippers. If the person you're dating is much better at something than you are, it doesn't kill your ego. Talking and people watching can be a great time. Your friend won't think you're weird when you ask if there's spinach in your teeth. You probably will not see us again. If you're under 6 feet tall, you don't have to lie about it. You'll never regret piercing your ears. You don't have to make awkward adjustments to private parts in public. If you have big ears, no one has to know. No one can ever say to you, "Stop acting like a girl." Number 6. Guys tend to perform better than girls at tasks that require spatial skills, such as reading a map and finding their way around in a new town or a place that's unfamiliar. While girls tend to use the right or creative side of the brain for driving and directions, guys tend to use the left or logical geometric side. When you apply this, you see that when guys drive, they tend to use geometry to grid out a map in their mind. Girls will be more likely to use the creative side of their brain and use landmarks for direction, as opposed to geometry. When in a car together, guys break out their mental grid, and girls say things like, "Turn right at that one ugly building next to the grass with the really strange-looking sign." It appears this difference exists because of the different parts of the brain that are being used. Number 7. Did you know that 55% of your communication with the people you already know comes from your body language, and it accounts for nearly 100% of your communication with people you just meet? Another 38% comes from your tone, while your actual words make up only 7% of your communication. How you say things is about 13 times more important than what you say. For example, nod your head up and down while saying "no" to someone. The person will be confused and probably stare at you. That's because you're saying two different things, one with your verbal cue and the other with your behavioral cue. Then look at your good friend, smile, and scream really loudly and angrily, "I really, really like you." You will notice in less than 10 seconds that people are afraid of you. Number 8. Look at me when I talk to you. Every kid has heard this from his or her parent about 2 million times. It usually occurs when the kid is afraid to look at the parent. In my case, the eyes looking back at me, full of anger, were my cue that I was in trouble for whatever it was I just tried to break or set on fire. For most of my childhood, eye contact was a sign of impending punishment, but it can also be a great way to bond with people. Girls who recognize the power of eye contact early are more confident and outgoing with it than girls who do not. Guys, especially teens, do not like eye contact that much. Go ahead, just stare at one, and he will get uncomfortable very quickly. Some studies on this have had people pair up and stare at each other without talking for several minutes straight. Most of the people in these studies reported feeling deeply attracted to the other person after this time. When someone stares at you in a non-threatening way, your palms sweat and get warmer, your heart rate increases, blood shoots through your lips and cheeks, your skin grows warmer, and your pupils will dilate. You will also produce all kinds of hormones that help people bond with one another. The odds are better that this will be positive if this happens with someone you know. When you look at people, your face is reacting all over the place. Hundreds of small muscles in the face express emotions that you are experiencing. The other person then recognizes how you may be feeling by how your face changes. If a guy can learn to look more frequently at people while calmly talking with them, then he will be much more successful in communicating with them. He will pick up on more signals, and he will probably find that girls will find him more attractive because he has found a way to actually connect with them. Eye contact makes all the difference. Your eyes, more than any other part of your body, express what is really going on in your heart. When you are ashamed, you avoid eye contact. When you are embarrassed, you avoid eye contact. When you are upset, you avoid eye contact. On the other hand, you look at people who interest you. You make eye contact when there is trust, appreciation, or fascination with someone. You need to be a little careful though, because if you just stare at people, you won't have many friends. You stare at people when you are interrogating them, and you stare at people if you lack social skills. The key is to make consistent eye contact. You will want to look away every few seconds and then re-engage eye contact. You also want to concentrate at relaxing the muscles around your eyes. If you tense your eye muscles, your forehead will wrinkle. A wrinkled forehead gives the impression that you disagree with what is being said. Number 9. I love you is a phrase of 3 profound words that brings both incredible joy and utter confusion to people everywhere, especially teens. Some people use it a lot, and others wait until they are married to say it. Most people fall somewhere in between these two extremes. Many people, particularly teens, use this word to describe a specific emotional feeling. It gets used when people feel close, become physical with one another, or become infatuated with the idea of someone they are dating. Emotions are definitely a part of love, but there is a lot more to it. If you think of love only as a feeling, there's a good chance that you are going to end up confused and hurt. If, however, you express love through actions as well as emotions, you have a good chance at healthy relationships. You cannot proclaim one thing with your words and do another with your actions. Number 10. Conflict is not bad. If you and the opposing party are willing to take responsibility for your actions, what you did wrong, and try to learn from it, if you are able to learn, listen, apologize, and convey your thoughts and feelings, you will find that while conflict is not fun, it can bring people closer. If you see every conflict as a way to learn about yourself and other people, then you will have less of it. And when you do have it, you can learn to express your care for other people. And people like that. Number 11. Forgiveness is one of the greatest skills you can develop in your life. I can guarantee that people will say and do things that will hurt you, disappoint you, and leave you feeling like yesterday's leftovers. If, however, you get really good at forgiving, you will feel positive about yourself despite how others act, and you will stay on track with what you are best at and not get stuck dwelling on past pain you have experienced. Most important, forgiveness keeps you from allowing other people's mistakes to ruin the course of your life. Luckily, forgiveness is a decision and doesn't require the people who have hurt you to do anything before you can start feeling better. In fact, it is usually less about the other person and more about you anyway. It's the practice of forgiving that will help you let go, not hold grudges, and grow as a person and in relationships. And just for future reference, forgiveness gives us the ability to stay in love for a lifetime. Nobody is perfect, and all great relationships are made up of two committed forgivers. But don't be dumb about certain relationships, and don't be naive. Forgiving is good, but that doesn't mean you can fix every relationship. Sometimes you need to forgive and walk away. Here's how it works. If someone wrongs you, you need to forgive him or her. If that person also says he or she is sorry, you can try to give the relationship another chance. But if that person only says the words and doesn't back it up with action, then you should protect yourself and walk away. Too many people allow themselves to be taken advantage of because they want to forgive. Just make sure you balance your smarts with your hearts. Number 12. Are you a human who has feelings? Yes, you are. I'm guessing you already know that. However, people seem to forget this about each other all the time. No matter what is happening to you in your life, things are happening in others' lives too. And a lot of stuff in people's lives can be tough. Everyone encounters frustrating situations with people, but not everyone stops for a second to remember one simple thing: all people are valuable. God does not care any less about them than He does about you. They have feelings, hearts, and sensitive issues in their lives, and they all deserve to be treated with these things in mind. Sometimes, if I can remember that, I look at an argument with a different set of eyes, the set that sees with compassion. Conflict will always exist. How we experience it is determined by us. Remember, conflict involves two people, and both people should be considered. Number 13. For some people, religion shapes their view on sex. Many people go to church and simply hear that sex outside of marriage is a sin, but it's not always explained why it is a sin. Even if you don't attend church, then you still might hear a variety of messages against premarital sex. The strongest message against it is that you can get pregnant or contract one of the 25 varieties of STDs and STIs. The most common message about the appropriate time for sex is simply to wait until you are ready. Since you are technically physically able or ready to have sex around age 11 or 12, this doesn't really make any sense. Not to mention the fact that sex causes babies, and 14-year-olds are not ready to be parents. Feelings change constantly, so feeling ready is actually a terrible way to gauge when someone should have sex. This vague standard does not help people, and it only ends up confusing things even more. It makes more sense to ask, am I treating my sexuality as valuable as it actually is? If you are a youth group pro, you might have heard it said that God wants people to wait for sex until marriage, but you still may not know why. Whether or not you go to youth group, the principles in the Bible do, in fact, make a lot of sense. In the 4th chapter of 1 Thessalonians, the Bible talks about avoiding sexual immorality. Notice it does not say sexual intercourse. It's not talking about a rule. It is talking about a principle. It also says we should learn self-control and that we are to treat ourselves and others in a holy and honorable way. The Bible was written in Hebrew and Greek, and when you go back to the original meaning, it's fascinating. Honor in Greek is tim, and when people use that word, they meant things like dignity, high price, valuable, precious, of value, and high esteem. This word is meant to convey that you, your body, and your emotions are highly valuable. You are worth something, and a great lot of something at that. So treat yourself and others with dignity and with high value. So even if you have heard because God says so, you can always look at the reasons why God says so. They make a lot of sense. They go beyond some simple religious rule to keep you from having fun, and they always have you in mind. God is pretty thoughtful that way. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, you probably will not see us again. If you have, congratulations, you are growing every day.